All right, we're back live. Can you hear me now? Yeah, it's choppy on your end. My end's not so choppy, but it's kind of choppy on my end too now. If you mute your camera and I mute mine, it might work. Because it could just be audio at that point. And we still talk and show pictures and stuff. See, let's try that. See again. Everybody's having a beautiful day. My name is Owen C. Cotter. Not sure what's going on with the broadcast. We're going to rehab him join in here. Hold on just a second. Wes, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm on a second phone now, and that seems to have fixed it.
Wow, you're ripe gold, and you can see yourself and hear yourself now. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
It's
sorry
all good.
about
We've
that.
got people in the chat though, which is good. They're saying we want to hear, we want to hear. So, Wizard Trading Post. We're talking about Wizard Trading Post. What is that? I noticed it's also on the flyer as well.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a something I didn't really have to do. Obviously, adding myself as a sponsor, but the first thing I was doing is maybe as a business thing, supporting
Mhm.
myself, dumping some money into the festival. I said, why would I not
Of course.
use my other business? Hold on, I'm trying to end this other stream I was still on.
So we're
Uh,
streaming on galactic channels all over the place, man. It's awesome to look.
yeah, this is wild. But yeah, so Wizard is I opened a year ago. It's
Yes.
the vintage toy store, collectibles, 80s, 90s, 70s, sometimes even 60s, and then some modern stuff. But it's really been just something I've done my whole life is collect that stuff. And just as of a
Me
year
too,
ago,
man.
I decided to go ahead and start the store, and it's been great. It's a passion project, but it's I've been dumping all my free time into it. It is actually somewhat taken the front seat to some of the music stuff, which is a little crazy. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, fire away any questions you got about that. That's my baby right now.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions. We just, matter of fact, got back from a collector expo this weekend. It was the Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention. It's in Tennessee, and they had a
Yeah.
lot of vintage and pop culture there. So we got Wizard Trading Post, existence in 2025. You said you've been open a year. What is it about collecting these items, these vintage, relics from the past? What do you enjoy about that? And what are some of your favorite topics that you collect or sell, rather, too?
Yeah, so growing up, it was wrestling figures for me.
Okay,
That post you got pulled up there, I just hit 1,000 sales, which is a small milestone, but a milestone nonetheless. Um,
that's a good mouse. A lot of people can't say they even have 10 sales. That's really good, man.
yeah, yeah. But growing up, it was wrestling figures for me, and then it was always hand me down stuff. I would have kind of a
Mhm,
big '80s guy fighting a little '90s guy,
mhm.
and then once I became a teenager and started working, I would go to the flea market, an
Mhm.
hour before it opened, and I would wait for someone to start setting up their toy booth, and I would try to wipe them out. If they got a box of
Nice.
stuff that's $2 a piece, and I would say, "Hey, if I take the whole box, would you do $1 a piece?" And I've always done that, and I hoarded them in a closet, and got to the point where when I was moving in the Coast Guard, half the moving truck was action figures, and
Nice.
now I've gotten to where got a big boy job, and starting to get
Mhm.
big boy collections, and yeah, it's just really taken off. So now I've gotten every $10 to $30 figure I've ever wanted in my life, and so I've
It's good,
upgraded.
good feeling,
And
isn't it?
yeah, it is, man. So some of that stuff that you just saw,
Yeah,
there was a Scare Glow figure from Motu that was up there, the
yes,
skeleton guy. I just
right.
picked him up locally from another collector, that one. And it's about a $300 to $400 figure, but I've never held
That's
one
cool.
before. And I just saw the Motu movie, and I'm really hooked on that line again right now. And so it was time. So that's a really cool one. That's a Diamond Select Hulk right there, complete with the
Oh
extra
wow,
hands,
it's,
and
it's got the
that one's a
hands.
really
And
cool. Yeah,
that's really
man, I'm just so into it again. It's just the nostalgia and growing up and I remember like when we were hanging out when we were younger. I remember
cool.
you had some cool stuff too, and that was before I was fully into it. And I've just always been real drawn to like vintage collectibles. It's such a cool thing.
It's very cool. It even got looks like it got some mask here, a Voltron, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and the
Matter of fact,
stories,
IC,
man.
yeah, like I
Go
said,
ahead.
ICCC. We had my friends down there from the Masters of the Universe, the artists and storyboard writers were there, as well as you remember talking nostalgia. Tomy made the Tron figures from the movie Tron.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Tron was there himself, Bruce Boxleitner, super nice guy. We got to talk to him quite a bit and a whole bunch of stuff. But I got to ask, like, 80s, 90s nostalgia, what are some of your top, like, three go tos beyond wrestling?
Man, so I
Tough
love
question.
Small Soldiers. It is really tough,
Okay.
especially now that I have the store. But
Yeah. Small Soldiers is a movie, I believe, correct?
yep. Small Soldiers toys. That's a really cool line. They actually have um, some that came through that are. There was one of the characters, Kip Killigan. I don't know if he was like a short order or what, like a small series or something, but he's really
Right.
rare. And the figure itself on card is like $1,200-$1,300 right now. I have one of those in the shop.
Okay.
But that line in general is a really cool one because I remember the movie, and I was at the right age where that movie was really cool for me.
That movie's
Um,
awesome.
there's another line called Pirates of Dark Water. I don't know if you know about that.
It's a cartoon series. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cartoon series. A lot of those do it for me. Biker Mice, Street Sharks, Cowboys of Moo Mesa. A lot of those cartoon series are what really do it for me.
We're talking about biker mice from Mars. We got to talk to the guy. I think he owns or has access to the IP from the Cell Company, and they're doing a new biker mice. I think it's like a collab or cross universe or something like that. And I was really interested to see you mentioned biker mice. Those are cool figures. They have little antennas you could push back in. There, the one got the
Yeah,
robot
yeah,
hand.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
it's
put their
cool.
helmet on over the antennas.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah, I got
actually,
their
I believe
whole hideout and everything.
yeah, I think it's like turtles and biker mice from Mars. I don't know who creates these things and comes up with these ideas. Like even Eastman and Laird did turtles. I forget who did and created biker mice, which brings up
Yeah, I'm
another
not sure, but
question. Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you got
I
it.
was saying the question was basically the creativity factor in all these pop culture universes. We were talking earlier in the broadcast before we got you on. You've got 50 years of Star Wars, 60 years of Star Trek, 50 years of Logan's Run. That's a little bit more of a obscure one. And these anniversaries of these pop culture franchises. I just want to know what are your thoughts on the continuation of not just pop culture in general, but taking that which people now collect it's so expensive, like $1,200 action figures, $20,000 paintings and pop art. What do you see that future for all this jazz? And then not to mention the music, because there's music involved in that as well. I mean, you had like Rush and Stan Bush did like Transformers and all that stuff, and Lion, Rock and
Yeah,
Roll,
yeah.
and all these shows. What are your thoughts on all that?
Man, honestly, I think I've just now been collecting toys long enough to where I've really seen, and music is the same, where it kind of
Yes.
comes in waves. Just like the 80s hair metal kind of made a comeback, and now it seems like it's kind of even going away again. Um, Toys are the same way, and I feel like it's because the people who collected the Star Wars stuff,
Yes.
respectfully, some of those guys that were older have now
Mhm.
started passing away, and
Yes.
it seems like it skips a generation. So you and I are crazy about some of this Star Trek and Star Wars stuff. Now our
Right.
kids would probably not care about it. Um,
Right.
Now I don't know. Was your dad a big Trekkie or Star Wars guy?
That's actually a good question. I've never been asked that. My dad was actually he wasn't like super like into like collecting and comics and all that, but he was actually the one that introduced me to a lot of those films. Like when I was a kid, he would slip me VHS tapes. So he started with like the CBS Fox trilogy collector box set, which had that cool little intro of Star Wars where from Star Wars to Jedi, which was some documentary that came out before Empire Dreams in the early 80s, which was more of an in-depth behind the scenes created. Some VHS of like the old Captain Kirk movies. And it's kind of
Yeah.
cool because at the same time, you had the special edition Star Wars came out in like 1997. And then on the same time, you've got all the Star Trek original series and then all the different iterations playing on UPN, I believe it was, on
Oh yeah.
television all throughout the 90s and early 2000s, which then permeated through all the renaissance of everything from, the Ronald D. Moore version of Battlestar Galactica, the Stargate, and the list goes on and on
I
and
do
on.
love that line, by the way. Battlestar Galactica toys are very cool.
Yeah, they made some cool toys. Even the Mego stuff from back in the 70s, like you had the Cylon and you had the weird guy, the top, what do you call it, the Imperious Leader. And then you had the Apollo and Starbuck and all that. We used to run into my friend. He's the late Richard Hatch. He played Apollo. Super nice guy. Rest in peace, brother. He was always cool because like he had stories. Plus, he also ran like an acting school or something like that. Like teach people how to get into like performing arts. And he was the kind of guy that could read a script, memorize the entire script, and go off script without even having to look at the script. Nice. So I was like, wow. Not a lot of people can do that and long dialogue at that. But yeah, Battlestar was cool. Did you see any of the the Expanse or any of these new series like For All Mankind and stuff like that?
I didn't.
And the Expanse was interesting from a historical aspect. It was an alternate timeline where the Russians landed on the moon first and we never quit the space race. So it's going up in like 2030. Profiles of gentlemen. It was Joel Kinnaman that played in that show Altered Carbon. But he was also like the rebooted RoboCop. It profiles him as a NASA astronaut in the late 60s in the Apollo era, all the way up into 2030. He's like 90 years old in this next season, and without spoiling it for the fans. But that's a cool series. Sci-fi in general, pop culture. We mentioned wrestling. What are some of your favorite wrestlers? And then we'll get back to the band and the concert too.
Yeah. Before we jump into that, but arguably your dad was not as into it as you are, right?
Probably so. Never asked him, but I do know that he was heavily interested in like space and technology and physics because he lived in Huntsville, Alabama, where Redstone. Matter of fact, my grandfather was a colonel on the base at Redstone for many, many years, still when he retired, of course. But my dad, he's always had a technical aspect of technology and futurism. So like when he was 17 years old, he took the NASA laser prototype. He was dating the girl whose dad ran the Marshall Spaceflight Technology Division. He goes, "Hey, mister, can I see what that is on the shelf? What is that?" "It's a laser prototype or some laser gizmo. Can I borrow it?" And reverse engineered three prototypes. One was in the museum. I think he took one to National Science Fair, and that's it. So he's always been interested in that. But I don't know if he's not as big as me in the sci-fi and Star Trek, I don't think.
Yeah, I just feel like it is something to answer that first question. I feel like it skips, and that's why I think it'll come back. I was going to show you real quick. Do you remember a guy named Santiago that hung out with the friend group?
Yes, he's a cool cat. He's a big sci-fi geek.
So he's stationed at Redstone, and I have some coins, some challenge coins for him.
Get this on full screen.
Yeah. So this is a Lego guy from the FBI.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. It's a Lego.
Yeah, and it's got like the Redstone on the back, and then there's let's see. Here's my challenge coin collection, by the way.
Oh wow, dude, that's a museum in itself.
I'm
all those certificates.
A big fan of those. Oh yeah, some of the Coast Guard certificates. Man, I don't know if I can find. Oh, here's the pistol. So this is a pistol coin from the Redstone or whatever.
So what are your thoughts of all that Space Force and all that that's going on now? It's kind of like real life and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. I actually have a friend now that's in the Space Force that he's in our Empty Hands music video.
Okay, and what is his position like? Is he like doing what is his role in that?
I don't know. We haven't talked much. I just know that he went off after he was in our music video. He went off and joined. By the way, I love your freestyle of podcast or of interview.
Oh yeah.
Because the way my brain works is I load the questions to where I won't let them go. So I still am on why how the collections are going to come back around and the values of them and everything, and then my favorite wrestler. Um,
Yeah.
but I did the same thing. I ran over to show you damn coins in the middle of it. So,
Oh, I love
uh,
it. Well, the fans love this stuff because they never know what they're going to get. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
talking to a gentleman years ago. Golly, Benji, Benji Graham.
Oh
We
yeah.
went down to an event in New Orleans. I think it was like a expo or whatever, and we're in the lobby. Well, I'm in the lobby because they were upstairs playing, I think, Injustice 2, the DC Comics game.
Hmm.
And I'm in the lobby, and this buddy comes up, and he's a good guy. He comes up behind me, and he's like, "Hey, brother, how's it going?" And they're watching the football game up there, and we get to talking, and he started this podcast, and very interesting podcast. He was telling me about the format and what he was doing with it, and I kind of wanted to not copy it, but replicate some of the similarities of what he does, because you never know what's going to be inside the podcast. And it was Michael Rosenbaum who created his Inside of You podcast, so I picked his brain on that. Of course, he's got like a zillion followers on him. He's a really cool guy. But I was figuring, like, if we were to replicate something like that, where it didn't just talk about just pop culture, but got in depth into like many other topics, like you mentioned, like the military, space force, collecting, music, anything and everything, I thought it'd be kind of a cool concept, because a lot of these, not all of them, but podcasts just do simply lock and box Star Wars or in the box,
Sure.
whatever.
Sure.
They don't, do that. But yeah, Mobile, Alabama. Tell everybody, like, that's near the beach, some of the nicest beaches in the world on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the beach. Yeah, I'm born and raised here. Obviously, you know that. I was gone for a while, but I do love Mobile. I like the history of Mobile. I'm not a big beach guy.
Yeah, I used to like going down when I was, my granddad would come in town. Remember, this is talking about technology. I went down to the lobby of this hotel, and they just pulled out the payphones. And I was about 18, 17 years old. I was looking to call my dad. He was supposed to come meet us for dinner. And I just went in there about Mardi Gras time, February. And I'm talking, man, they have done what is probably $40 million worth of renovation on that hotel called the Admiral downtown. And it
Yeah, yeah,
is, I was like, man, go into that lobby, into that lounge, and that, I'm like, dude, this looks like, I mean, this is on point. But that
yeah.
lounge is cool. They had a live piano and all there, and there. You could see the Mardi Gras floats come by, and they had like at the MOT parade, the Mystics of Time. Their entire theme of that year was all pop culture movies. So Godzilla, they had a two-story tall Darth Vader. They had,
Very cool.
Scooby Doo, Ghostbusters. It was all just floating down the street while I'm sitting in the Admiral down there. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
So it's
we
pretty.
Empty Hands has played in the Pharaohs Mardi Gras
Okay.
parade. So
That's right. You've done
we
some streams on that, I believe, sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We actually our bass player, his family stayed in the Admiral when we did that. So
Mhm.
when we drove by there, we saw them out standing outside.
That
It's a
place is
nice little
plush.
hotel.
Hmm. Cool thing about that hotel, it's got bleeding fast internet. It's got a coffee shop, and it's near like everything down there, from
Yeah, yeah.
the Singer
Good
Theater, the
spot.
Alchemy Tavern, you name it. But I was gonna
Yep.
say, for Music Box, it starts at 6 p.m. The show. What time?
Yep.
You said it ends at 1. And where do people find out about how to get the tickets, how to get all the jazz?
Yeah, so if you go, I just recently condensed everything on Instagram to where my Instagram is Hey Wes Johnson, Son of a
Hmm.
Guns is Hey Son of a Gun, Empty Hands
Okay.
is Hey Empty Hands,
Hmm.
West Fest is Hey West Fest.
Yeah.
I did that, to make it a little easier. But in the Hey West Fest bio, there's a link. It's on one of those little free sites, Milkshake, whatever.
Hmm.
But on there, there's a ticket link. So it's basically all through that link that's on the Westfest Instagram. There you go. Right below the flyer in red, it should say tickets, and that's where
Yes,
you get
it
them.
does. Right
VIP
there.
sold out. Um, yeah, I thought it was right there. You see it on there?
Tickets.
Yeah.
Right
So
there below.
VIP sold out, which is really cool to be a local, pretty much locals only show, and to sell out of the VIP was really cool.
That is.
It's doing really well. The show's doing really well. I was very surprised with it. Not only the support of sponsors and all the bands that wanted to play, but also just
Mhm.
people reaching out about tickets and wanting to buy merch and stuff. It's just been really cool.
Well, that just brings up a point. I mean, there's obviously an appetite for this kind of format, and not just local, but you've got people coming in from everywhere. You said from Georgia to Louisiana to anywhere and everywhere, Nashville, all kind of places. Like if it were me, I would continue it on, maybe change the name if you want. But I think this thing
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
awesome to do each year, maybe once every 3 months or so, or some format where they could
yeah,
build it up and bring it into like all. I mean, you could even variety. You could have DJs. Or you think you have one rap, R&B, hip hop person, country or
yeah.
heavy metal. You name. You could even bring in some like bands like. We've had the flux capacitors on here before, and they rock out old retro '80s stuff. I mean, there's all kind of playability. What are your thoughts? First off, what is the weather like down there? It is hot as garbage here.
Oh, dude, we just actually, so I'm at my full-time job right now, and we just
Okay.
had a ambulance show up because someone had like heat exhaustion symptoms. So it's
Oh,
pretty bad. It's pretty bad down here in South Alabama right now.
yeah.
We'll see how the 10th is going to be. But we got the vendors there. I think they're still on the flyer in color. I can't remember if I did or didn't, or maybe I left them off. But we have two vendors coming out. One's a snow cone guy, and one's a lemonade girl.
That'll help you out when it's hot as garbage out there.
Yeah, I'm so stoked on them. I think I left them off on because we weren't sure on if any more were coming, and I didn't want anyone to feel like favoritism or anything.
Of course, of course. Well, the what we'd like to
Oh,
do
have
down there
a
is come down. You upside down.
what's that?
You just went upside down. I can hear you. So I was saying what we'd like to do down there at the event is, and if you need any help in any way, let us know. Like to go there and help you promote, maybe do some shout outs before the event starts, maybe even do an on camera with you, going over a little bit and simulcast out to the family. I do have quite a bit of fans all over the East Coast and South. So I mentioned to everybody, if anybody's in town, by the way, watching this broadcast, looks like there's some people. Please check out Alabama Music Box on July 10th at 6 p.m. Wes will be having his band there with 13, 14 bands. Wes, I want to ask you another question before because we got about a time ticker here, about 5 more minutes. I got to ask, in the Alabama Music Box that used to be, it's been relocated, I believe, to another location on Conti Street, right? Where is that? How's that in relation to like the hotel we mentioned?
Yeah. So Music Box is at its third location now. So
Third location.
yep, it originally was on Dauphin Street, kind of a little ways up from the main part of downtown. Then it was in the middle of
Mhm.
downtown, and now it's kind of a little
Okay.
further up. It's where the garage and
Mhm.
Moe's Barbecue are. It's kind of in that area.
That's a good
It's not far
location.
from
That's a
the
hope
Admiral.
location for me. Mhm.
It's
It's
in
near the what's the other one now?
what's that?
I'm saying, oh yeah, you broke it. Jerry, I can hear you now. It was near the what's it, the Merry Widow, and there's another one, Alchemy, near the Singers around the corner from that, I believe, correct on the other
So
side.
it used to be right by the Merry Widow. It has since moved.
Okay. It's
So it's
moved.
up
So there's
Conti, yeah, or Conti, up by the
yeah.
garage. So if you know where Moe's Barbecue is, it's just catty cornered from Moe's Barbecue
That's
now.
over there by the by the garage, the barbecue, and you've got something else on the right. It used to be like a burger place or steak place. You keep going straight, you'll eventually hit the Merry Widow and the Alchemy and all that on the right, I believe.
Yeah, there also the McDonald's that's off of Government is like right over there by it now.
Yes, that's the Mardi Gras spot, man. That's where all the Mardi Gras goodness goes on
That's
down
right.
there. So that's really cool. The last question on the list before we get about 60 seconds. I want to ask you first, I want to thank you for being on this broadcast and thank you, the fans, for submitting questions and having a good time with us. Right quick before we end, let's have some information. When is it? Where is it? And how do people find out about it one more time before we end the broadcast?
The festival you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
All right. West Fest, July 10th. Doors open at 5 o'clock. 13 bands, all different genres. Alabama Music Box, Mobile, Alabama. You can find it on Hey West Fest on Instagram. All the information's on there. Tons of bands from all over the Gulf Coast.
Awesome. I want to thank you, Wes, for joining us here. I can't wait to see you on July 10th. It should be an awesome time. Looking forward to it. I've got a special shirt I'm going to wear, and it's not what you think. It's not a sci-fiction shirt. It's something else.
Ooh, can't wait.
It's very cool. It's very nostalgic. Thank you, Wes. You have a beautiful day, man. I'll see you soon, brother.